a seat to history last night, my friends, as we welcome you inside our New York studios. This is Brian Windhorst. We got some NBA champs over here. Danny Green, Kendrick Perkins. I'm Malika Andrews. Fellas, what a treat that we got last night to start the Eastern Conference Finals. Karl Anthony Towns, I was with him in the locker room, and he said, you know how you should start the show tomorrow? And I said, what? And he said, you should ask, what's the better start to the conference finals, the West or the East? And he said, I know everyone's going to say the West. But like the East, they put up a little bit of a rock fight in this one.
Produce a cat. It was fun.
Cat.
It's not.
It was fun.
It's
though.
not OKC.
I mean, we got Wemby. We got the Knicks.
We got the Garden.
Right, exactly. And the Knicks, they trailed by 22 with 7 minutes to go. Keep in mind, teams were 0-663 when trailing by 20 in the final 7 minutes of the fourth quarter of a playoff game. So, who are you going to call? Jalen Brunson, Brian.
High up the glass.
He just went after those yellow shoes over and over.
A few possessions later.
Green to me, though.
Once again, uses the window. All of a sudden, the Garden comes alive. The Knicks within 8 here. And then Brunson, again, you're going to sense a theme. Garden by Harden.
I mean, that's just good shooting. Like that, you can put some of it on James, but some of it was just Captain Clutch doing his thing.
And Captain Clutch knows how to get the arena fired up. Let's just check in on the fan cam here. You know who else was loving it? Of course, outside, but Patrick Ewing. And so was a friend of the show, Ahmad Shumpert.
This man gets good seats.
Like he was ready to check in. Ben Stiller, Tracy Morgan, Timothy Chalamet as well. Chalamet. Mike Cale Bridges going to work.
This was tough. This was greatly defended, too.
That's over a former defensive player of the
To
year.
show you great offense beat good defense any day.
A few possessions later,
Oh, my God.
Brunson kicks it out to the corner.
Now he's hot.
Knicks rattle another one down. And then there was the doink.
Yeah.
Brunson,
Great minutes from this guy.
the double team drums. Kicks it out to the corner for Landry Shamet. Shamet was in the game for Josh Hart, by the way, and that's the doink. Gets it to go down. Shamet, what did you see on that one?
To be honest, when I shot it and I looked up and I was like, oh, we're tied up. I didn't realize at the time that one would have tied it up.
He saw the Garden going crazy. James Harden, though, and the Cavaliers, they had an answer here.
Well, at least they finally went after Brunson. He had 5 fouls. They didn't do that for possession after possession, but it was a good shot.
Final seconds here, the New York Knicks, they need one to tie.
You know what they say, Malika? Right back ain't cheating. Right back ain't cheating.
And so we're all tied up at 101. Final chance here for the Cavaliers. The ball in James Harden's hand. Gives it up there. It's a good look. Mike Green got down half a bang. Couldn't quite get it to go. And so to overtime we go. By the way, no timeouts called for the Cavaliers after 3:30 in regulation. So let's go to overtime. It was Brunson versus those yellow shoes once again.
Have his dance again. Still dancing.
Certainly was. And then this is capping it off here for New York. Brunson tosses it to Shamet. Dagger. The Knicks complete one of the most improbable, historic comebacks that we've seen in the world's most famous arena and get the win in Game 1. By the way, this was Brunson's 16th 35-point playoff game with the Knicks. That is 7 more than any other player in team history. And think about all the illustrious players that have played in a Knicks uniform. That's after he outscored the Cavaliers by 6 on his own during that 44-11 run. Yes, 44-11 run to end the game. Let's take a listen to the hero, Brunson, after this performance.
Most importantly, sticking together. No matter how that game finished, habits translate, and so they get translate to the next game. So just finishing the game strong, regardless of whatever's going on, making sure we're having the right habits. So we'll be going to the next game. We're doing what we're doing.
Like we have to try to figure out different ways to guard Harden and Mitchell. They got to figure out different ways to guard Jalen. But there's no secret we were attacking Harden.
He made some tough ones. But obviously we all know he's a great one-on-one player, and I think anybody on the island, it's going to be difficult. So we got to do a better job of making sure he sees bodies.
Listen, he's been one of our best defenders in these playoffs. I trust him. Smart, great hands. Didn't think about that.
That was Kenny Atkinson being asked about the defense of James Harden, saying that he is one of our best defenders. But Mike Brown said that they were hunting James Harden. And I I know we can talk a lot about the Cavaliers here. Let's try to start on the Knicks side of things, how this was won here, Brian.
So this is the fourth time in the last 2 years that the Knicks have been down by 20 or more in a playoff game, and they've won.
Right.
Remember last year they did it in games 1 and 2 against the Celtics? Number 11 has done most of the work. So when you get him in a situation where he's hot like that, I'm going to tell you, I don't care what the score is, he believes he can do it. The team believes he can do it. And going forward, whether it is the Cavaliers or it is the Thunder or it is the Spurs, you may want to be a little bit quicker on an adjustment when that gentleman gets going.
Big Body Brunson. You know, he got his invitation last night.
Where
from
to?
the upper room.
Oh, okay.
From Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas. He got his invitation. Now, it's on him whether or not he's going to RSVP. And the only way he could do that is by continuing to do what he do and win games and lead this team to winning the championship. But I want y'all to understand something right now. This man is on the verge, and has the opportunity to become the greatest Knick ever and change the narrative and enter a room that only a few people are sitting at, a dinner table with Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry, because the narrative has been what? You can't win with a small guard leading the charge. Big Body Brunson is changing that. While we looking at the West and looking at 7'5", 7'6", something that we never seen before, we got this little Mighty Mouse over here saying, I'm on the mission as well.
Right.
And what I saw,
I like that cat and mouse.
What I saw more so than anything, Malika, Danny, and Wendy, is I saw his leadership. That clip where he showed on the bench when he was standing up, talking in the huddle, motivating his team, I was like, I'd never seen Big Body Brunson do this before. It was just a different level. Yeah. You know, and when you see that type of passion, when you see that type of togetherness, when you see that type of agenda-free basketball,
right,
and your leader is getting it done, Wendy, you know why they couldn't attack him? Because he was doing an outstanding job of sliding his feet and playing defense. That's why they couldn't attack him.
Right, but it seems like, it's hard, again, it's really hard to talk about this without talking about the mistakes that the Cleveland Cavaliers made. But if you're bringing up the mouse, then we got to also talk about the cat.
Yes.
Because Karl Anthony Towns, we talked about him being a catalyst for this team.
Sure.
Yes, I mean, and last night, it was struggles for most of the time for their whole group. It wasn't just Cat, and that's why they went to the Brunson offense towards the end.
Was that rest versus rut? They just came out
It was
a
definitely
little
rusty.
flat.
I expected a quarter or two, but 3 quarters, I'm like, this is just a bad game.
Sure.
I don't think they're going to get through it. And there's not many things I disagree with Kenny Atkinson on. He's a Long Island guy. But James Harden being one of your better defenders, I don't agree here. But to James' defense, these are tough shots. Like, I don't think it mattered who was guarding him.
That was not good.
That was not tough.
That one, no. But there's a couple of them, the high off the glass. This one danced like... whoever was there in front of him, I think he was still making these baskets. But he got hot because he was letting him get to the paint. But once he got hot, there's nobody stopping Jalen Brunson from getting these baskets. As you see, this one-on-one, little step back here. That one right there is a tough one. And they also had one off the high of the glass. So even though James is known as a defender you want to attack, he played decent defense for some of the part.
Brunson shot 7 of 8 against James Harden in the fourth quarter and overtime of this game. Perk, what's the face?
Because he shouldn't have been in the game. It shouldn't even got to
There's no way you can take him out.
And I
if
understand.
he's not offensively scoring.
And you know why you can't take him out, Wendy? Because you did what you do best. And you reported a few days ago that guess what? It's a verbal commitment there for as a contract extension in the near future. And you and I both know that sometimes things come from the top. Yeah. Because ain't no way in hell, Kenny Atkinson didn't believe his own comments post-game. James Harden is your best defender? What? You're talking about Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
Said one of their best.
He lied. And the truth wasn't nowhere near. And my thing is at some point, we're looking at James Harden. You know what I said last night? Different series, same story. More turnovers than made field goal. So not only is he being a liability defensively, he's giving you absolutely nothing offensively. And Wendy, I want you to highlight, because I like you. I love you a lot. That play where he gave up that 3 in that corner to Mikal Bridges when the Knicks cut it to 3, I think it was about 1 minute and 16 seconds. Bro, what were you doing? It's a golden rule that you do not help
Off the
strong. Thank you, Dan.
I know you guys play with Hall of Famers. You know you are not pulling a Hall of Famer out of a game in game one.
What is he doing?
I understand.
What is he doing?
Okay, look, here's what you got to do. You got to call timeout with 6 minutes left, and you got to take him out of that spot.
So
you
Kenny Atkinson had 4 timeouts.
Yeah, the only other thing I disagree with.
Right, so at 3:30 he calls a timeout. It leads to an Evan Mobley 3 out of that timeout. That's the last timeout he called.
How many left out of the game?
So he had 2, right? Because you use it or lose it timeouts after that. So 2 remaining.
So he had one for dinner, a side of timeouts for dinner.
Honestly, though, it doesn't really matter how many timeouts you got left. When your coverage is busted, and you can't get anything offensively, you call timeout and you change your defensive coverage and you draw up an ATO. This is baseline stuff. I don't want to be the bad guy here. This is baseline stuff.
Yes, and we can talk about Kenny. We can talk about James. A lot of this is leadership, and I also look at Don. Like, you're a guy that they look to lead this team. And during this crunch time minutes, you got to be aggressive and assertive.
I think he was diminished.
He looked like he was tired. He looked like he was hurt and hobbling. But you got to go get the ball. He was deferring a lot in that fourth quarter.
It's another reason why they couldn't take Harden out, because Donovan couldn't do it.
But look, this is what I'm saying. They were up 22 points in the fourth quarter. Even if they're struggling offensively, you still should be able to get stops. At some point, it got to come from here. When you think about it, I always bring up Eddie House, and he gonna call me when he see this, but he's my guy. Eddie House was known as a shooter.
As a dog.
But when we won a championship, we challenged Eddie House to be a better defender, and he did that. You can't tell me that's championship level defense. And what I'm saying is, at least burn one of those timeouts, Kenny. You don't even have to draw up nothing that's going to change your defense. How about getting on their ass and giving them some type of motivation?
The Game 7, the way that because I asked Kenny Atkinson about it after the game, and the way that I phrased it is earlier in his post-game press conference, he mentioned maybe a bit of fatigue setting in. And when you saw, but listen, Perk, when you saw even the way that Mitch Johnson used some timeouts and challenges down the stretch of regulation in the first overtime, some of it seemed to me, to save the legs and be able to catch his breath for some of his players. And so if fatigue is setting in after a 2 7-game series for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're seeing that, maybe part of the purpose of calling that timeout could have been a little bit of a reset there. We have another 45 minutes of show to get into this, right? We got championship level players over here. We got Emmy Award winners on this panel, but I'm not sure, my friends, any of us could sum it up better or more succinctly than our newest analyst did. Check this out.
Dad, the Knicks were down by like 28, and now it's an OT. I guess what you said is true. There's always time.
That is a young nurse.
Yeah.
He was being mildly condescending. I'm not going to lie.
Excellent analysis there, Dane. Please come out to New York.